Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tito the Educator and I'm happy to be here again today. So what are we going to be discussing? I would like to share ideas about how the process is involved in you coming to the UAE to become a teacher. Yes, you heard me right, to become a teacher. Now, this question has always been popping up. Oh, how can I come to the UAE? What do I need to do to come to the UAE? Every nationality or every country has their own procedures you have to go through. So I'm going to take us right down from the base up. So I'll be sharing the nitty gritty, the tidbits you need to know before you embark on this journey. Funny enough, we have some of our people coming here to UAE without even attesting their document, and they want to teach. It doesn't work that way. And information is very key, and that's the reason why I'm going to share this with you. So please don't go anywhere. Sit down, relax, enjoy, and let's do this together. Okay, first things first. For you to become a teacher in the UAE, definitely you must have graduated from a university in Nigeria with your 4-year bachelor's degree. Okay, so once you have your 4-year bachelor's degree in your area of specialization, okay, but if you don't have your degree in your specialization, it doesn't stop you from still being a teacher in the UAE. Okay, so what you need to do is you're going to take your certificate, your degree certificate, and your YX certificate. Yes, you have to take both certificates to the Ministry of Education in Abuja. And you should know that that is the only place you can get your document attested. So the process you're going to go through is called Attestation of Documents. So you have to head to Abuja, anywhere you find yourself, anywhere you are living in Nigeria. Maybe you're living in Akwa Ibom State, you're living in Lagos, you're living in Kaduna, you're living in Maiduguri. You have to find your way straight to the Ministry of Education in Abuja. So when you get there, I think you can find the address on Google. So just go on Google, then you get the actual address. So when you get to Ministry of Education in Abuja, you're going to give them your YX certificate and also your degree certificate. They will do a kind of costing, then you go and pay in the bank, very close by or something, then you come back. I think you get a scratch card or something. There's a process you have to go through, but it's a quick process. So once you're done with that, you produce it, then you get your document attested. Now, like I told you, I'm going to share the tidbits that I know. Some will ask, okay, how do I get my document attested? Is laminated. Do not worry. What is just needed is the space at the back, mostly at the down part. Okay, so they have a special tool they use to do a cutout at the back, and they do the attestation there and put a seal. So don't bother, even if your document is attested. It is laminated, it will get attested. Okay, so you get your degree attested. All right, so I think within a day, if you go there early in the morning, you should be able to be done before the closing time. But if not, then you are asked to come back the next day to get it done, right? So after that process, as you're coming to the UAE, you have to get a letter called the letter of eligibility. Yes, it's very important at that point to get it if you're coming to the UAE. There are some countries that have their different requirements and all that, but for the UAE, as of now, yes, it is the letter of eligibility. So it's important for you to get that. No police record. I think before sometime early 2019, I think police report was required, but not anymore. So you just get your degree attested at the back, and you get your letter of eligibility. So when you're done with the Ministry of Education, the next step is to head straight to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And guess what? It's just about, I think, 5 minutes walk. Yeah. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is just 5 minutes walk away from the Ministry of Education. So when you get to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you tender your attested document, and I think maybe just make sure you go there with your passport photograph or photocopy of your attested documents and all that. So whatever you need to do there is something you can always do around. It doesn't take so much. So at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they will do their own documentation. give you a tally, you wait and collect it. Like I said, if you're able to go there earlier, you get your documents all attested in good time. All right, but please make provision for the next day and the next day if need be. Okay, and so when you get all this, after your Ministry of External Affairs, you have to head straight to UAE embassy. Yes, in Abuja. There, I think it's about 35 minutes drive away from the Ministry of External Affairs or Foreign Affairs. So you go to the UAE embassy. So when you get there, you give them your attested documents, the process you've gone through in the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign or External Affairs. So once you do that, they'll do all their logging in. You sit down for a few minutes, and I think that is quite a very quick process also. So you get that done, then ta-da! That means that your government, the government of our country has attested to the fact, have acknowledged the fact that yes, your certificates are genuine, and yes, they know about you and all that. Okay, so the next process is, once you're done with your attestation at the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also the UAE Embassy in Abuja, what you also need to get maybe from your employer is a letter of recommendation. Okay, so it would be nice for you to have a letter of recommendation, especially if you're going to get your job through an agency. You know, there are some agencies that they do recruitment for teachers, you know. So if you're going to do that, it will be very nice for you to get your letter of recommendation from your employer. But if not, nothing stops you from still taking the very next step. Okay, so when you get here, you also need to go to the UAE embassy here. Okay, attestation office. Sorry, you need to go to the UAE Ministry of Education office here in Dubai. So you will get there to do your equivalency. There's a way to do a conversion to, you know, to, it's an internal process anyway, and they also register you. So the process is called equivalency. So you do that process at the Ministry of Education office in Dubai. Okay, so when you're done with that, then that's the process where you have to now start, you know, if you're coming here by yourself to do direct employment, then you can start, you know, looking for a job. You know, you can do visits to schools by yourself. You can send emails to them. You can go for interviews. I'll be sharing tips on interview, you know, questions that you're likely to come across in your interviews. So yeah, so you're ready to get your job. So once you get your job, you, after working for I think about 6 months, you can now get your start applying for licensing. That's the TLS, Teacher Licensing System. So your employer, through your employer, they recommend you that you've been working with them. You know, they will have done classroom observation for you and the different stuff like that. So you go through their portal, the government's portal, through access from your school. You register, you put all your documents, the documents you've done attestation on, the equivalency on, then you upload on the website. Then they will give you the kind of assessment you're going to sit for and the date for the assessment, and you study and get ready for your licensing examination. So it's so after your licensing, that is when you can say you are a registered or certified or licensed teacher in the UAE. Okay, so really that's all the processes you need to go through as a Nigerian coming here. So you can either apply through an agency, or you can come over here to do direct employment, or you can send emails to the school directly. Okay, so those are the things you need to do. Maybe in one of the videos I'm going to do soon, I will be sharing interview tips with you. You know, so we are Nigerians, so we are peculiar. We know, you know, the ups and downs we have to go through. We have to prove ourselves in our places of work to show that we have the skills. Okay, so after all of these, then you can start enjoying your job as a teacher in the UAE. Now, I would like to talk to aspiring teachers who thinking, oh, is this thing for me and everything. It's for you if you have a degree. It's for you if you believe in yourself. It's for you if you're ready to take the leap. It's for you when is the right time and when you decide is the right time for you. Okay? Because somebody like me, I took the actions, I started taking the actions at a particular point. So you should define when you want your own right time to be. Okay, so those are the processes involved. Let me go through the processes again. First step, take your WAEC certificate and your degree certificates to the Ministry of Education in Abuja. Okay, that's their headquarters. That's the only place where you can do the attestation of your documents. All right, so when you do that, you're also going to get your eligibility letter right there at the Ministry of Education. The letter is peculiar to workers coming to the UAE. All right, so they'll give you you attest your degree, and you also get your letter of eligibility. All right, so after that you head to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay, that's when they will do their own internal home office something attestation also. After that, the third step is you head to the UAE, I think it's an embassy in Abuja. Okay, so they'll also do all their documentation and everything. Okay, then the fourth step is when you get here, you go to the Ministry of Education in Dubai. All right, that is where they will do your equivalency. All right, so once that is done, you are good to go. However, some people get the jobs before they go for the equivalency. All right, so just make sure you have all the information at your fingertips and you look at the requirements. But before you can get your TLS, you ought to be working for a school already for about 6 months before your school will recommend you to go for your TLS. I think from January 2021, it's going to be very important for you to go through all these processes very well to the last dot. And all teachers who are in the classroom in the UAE should have their TLS. That's the teacher licensing license. Yeah, the TLS, teacher licensing system. You go through the system, you do your assessment, you pass your exams, tada, you're licensed. And one beautiful thing is once you're licensed in the UAE, you can teach anywhere in the world. All right, so those are the tips I want to share with you. Perhaps you just have your NCE and you're thinking this is not for me. Do not wait. Go and get your degree. Okay, go and get your degree. If you're extremely passionate about education, get your degree in education. And so don't feel discouraged to say, oh, I just have NCE, there's no way for me, oh, this looks like a dream that will never come true. Of course it's going to come true, but you are the only one that can make it come true. And also to other people who have maybe PGDE, that's postgraduate diploma in education in Nigeria, of course, definitely it is for you. You can also take it along with you. All right, just take it along with you in case you need to do that. I didn't have the PGDE. I had my PGCE from a university abroad. So if you have the PGCE, which is that from the university abroad, you can only attest it from that country that issued it to you. Okay, so that's another process entirely. So if you have a PGCE like I do, you have to send it, okay, to the embassy of the country. If it's a UK university or the US university, you have to send it to the embassy there to help you with the attestation of documents. And there are lots of agencies that you can send them to that can help you do it within a week or something, then you will pay. So different, but if you have any questions, then you need to also understand that for especially PGCE, there are only few universities that are recognized in the UAE. So if you had your PGCE from a university that is not acknowledged in the UAE, it might not be acknowledged. Let me take that again. So if your PGCE is from, for example, University of Nottingham, University of Sunderland, then is acknowledged, all right? But if it's not from these universities, you might not be acknowledged. So please go on the website, UAE government website, and just search for recommended electronic universities, all right? So once you do that, you're ready to go. I wish you all the best in your job search. If it's time for you to go, fantastic. And it will be a lot easier for you if you've been working as a teacher in an international school in Nigeria. It's a lot easier. You know all the tracking system, you know all the reporting system. However, I will still say that if you've never worked in an international school in Nigeria, it still does not stop you. Okay, get on yourself, get information, go online, ask questions, attend conferences, attend trainings where you're going to meet teachers who work in these schools, and ask questions. All right, it is actually the zeal that will get you so far. Okay, so those are the tips I shared. I've promised to share, and I'm happy I'm sharing it. In case you have any questions about it, please drop your questions below. I will sure try to answer all your question. A journey of 1,000 miles start with just one step. So take your step and get going. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and also press the like button. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. My name remains Tito the Educator, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.